Hey, this is Patron's Virtual World, and I've decided to do an update video on my KVM setup of the Gigabyte M32Q monitor. Since I've changed my setup, actually I wasn't using KVM for a long time, but now I received a MacBook Pro and I've tried out the KVM setup because I thought, well, this is the case when it will come handy and useful. If you are still confused what KVM is, its purpose is to actually allow you to share one set of peripheries between multiple computers. Which means that if you have, for example, two computers, a MacBook and a Lenovo Legion 5 Pro, and you have only one monitor, one keyboard, and one mouse, and you would like to use all of these things with both of your computers easily, you cannot do it normally, right? If you are connected to your MacBook and you want to connect it to your Legion, you have to disconnect all the things from the MacBook and connect them into your Legion. Well, KVM allows you to do exactly this, but just with the push of a button easily, so you don't have to manually disconnect anything. It's done for you in the software. Basically, it's a kind of switch. In the KVM options of the Gigabyte monitor, you will see two values. One of them, or one pair, is USB-B and HDMI 1, and the other one is Type-C and Type-C. What does this mean? This means that one KVM configuration, one computer, is connected into the USB-B port of the monitor and the HDMI 1 port of the monitor. The USB-B port is used to transfer mouse, keyboard, mic and other peripheries data, whilst the HDMI 1 is used to transfer video and audio. You can see it also on the diagram. Right in this red square we have the MacBook Pro. We have one Type-C cable that goes into the D-Link hub, and from this D-Link hub we have one cable that ends with USB-B connector in the monitor, and the other one ends with HDMI 1 cable in the monitor. On the other side, with Legion 5 Pro, we have only one connector that is used, and that is the Type-C connector, and it is both transferring mouse, keyboard, mic data and video and audio data. That's only one cable that goes into the monitor, into the Type-C port, from here to Legion 5 Pro. And the Legion 5 Pro, other than this cable, I have it connected to a Razer mouse with USB-A. Now, everything in the yellow square is shared via KVM between these two computers. With a push of a button at the back of the monitor, you can switch which of your computers is using the speakers, the mic, the Logitech mouse and the keyboard. And all these peripheries are connected to the monitor. The keyboard with USB-A connector, the mic to the USB-A port. Logitech has actually a USB-A receiver that is connected to the USB-A port, and the speakers are connected with a 3.5mm jack. Let's now look at all the components in real life and all the connectors. So we have the Razer mouse, the Logitech mouse, which is connected with a USB receiver that is plugged into the monitor from the back side. The Razer mouse is connected directly to the Legion, right? This is just the power cord, we can ignore that. Now the keyboard is connected again to the back of the monitor with USB-A port. The mic is connected to the back of the monitor with USB-A port. Now here we have the Mac Pro, we can ignore the power cord again. Here is the USB Type-C with Thunderbolt that is connected to this D-Link hub that have actually an HDMI port and a USB Type-A port. The HDMI goes to the HDMI 1 port of the Gigabyte monitor, the Type-A port actually ends with the type B port at the end of the Gigabyte monitor. From the Legion, we actually have only one type C cable that is transferring the data for the peripheries and also the video, the display port signal. So this is just one cable. Here we have actually two cables that goes into the monitor, and here it's only one cable that goes into the monitor. I will try to show you the back of the monitor as well. It's not easy though. We can still try to have a look. So you can see this is the 3.5mm jack for the speakers. This is the Razer mic cable. This is the unifying Logitech receiver for the Logitech mouse. This here is the keyboard, the corded cable. Now we have here the USB type B, which ends with USB type A here in the hub, right? And the hub connects to the MacBook with USB type C Thunderbolt. Let's continue here. Well, let's go first to the HDMI 1 video output, which goes actually again to the hub and then to the Mac. And lastly we have this USB type C cable that transfers DisplayPort, and it goes into my Legion laptop, as I already showed you, but once again it goes here. Let me now demonstrate the basic use case for KVM. This Logitech mouse and the Keychron keyboard, and actually the mic as well, are connected to the monitor. And then on the monitor I've set up two KVM configurations, one for the MacBook and the other for the Legion 5 Pro. So now, as you can see, I'm controlling the Legion 5 Pro. I have Notepad++ opened. I'm pulling it over this monitor because I'm extending the monitors. I'm extending the monitors on the Legion as well as on the MacBook. But on the MacBook you cannot see the picture yet because I'm switched to the Legion. I'm going to push now the KVM button. And voila, I'm switched to the MacBook. Now here is the basic, some kind of basic note application for Mac. As you can see, I'm pulling it over to this window. And now back again. And I can also type. I can type here, and I can type on the Mac as well. Yay! Back on Mac. Let's say today I finished working on the Mac and I'm not planning to do any more work. So I can just turn it off, put it to sleep, right? Okay, so let's push the button. Bye bye. Let's close the lid. And voila, the image switches actually to the Legion 5 Pro automatically. And yeah, just can still see that I can move the mouse and I can type here. Now, what happens if I decided to, well, work on the Mac after all? So I open it, right? I log in. Oh, sorry. And as you can see, well, the image is not back. That's correct. But if I put my computer into sleep, now the monitor actually automatically switches to the MacBook Pro. So this is another way how to use the KVM switch, or how you can trigger it. For this case, the Legion is sleeping, and I'm interested whether I'm able to wake up my MacBook with the KVM mouse and keyboard. So let's try it out. Let's put the Mac into sleep first. As you can see, the monitor actually turned off. The keyboard turned off as well. Yeah, so let's move the mouse and click, and as you can see, the Mac is awake and the monitor as well. Now let's try it again, but this time with the keyboard. Good night, Mac. Okay, Mac seems to be asleep. The monitor is in standby mode. Let's try to use the keyboard. Yeah, actually it works again. Now let's try the same, but this time with the Legion. So let's put Mac into sleep mode. So both computers are asleep. And I would like to wake up the Legion, but this time it's not going to work because actually the Mac was the last computer that went into sleep mode, so the monitor is kind of still connected to the Mac. As you can see. But if I turn on my Legion and I put Mac into sleep mode, which should bring up the Legion, of course, and it does. Now, if I put the Legion into sleep mode, now, which computer will turn on? Let's see. So, let's wait a bit. Okay. Everything is in standby, sleeping. I will try to use the mouse. Nothing is happening. I will try to use the keyboard. Well, still nothing is happening. So that's one of the disadvantages of KVM, because a lot of people in the comments commented that actually it does not work or it has some issues, and indeed it has some issues. This is one of them. So now if I want to wake up either the computer, I have to use the keyboard of the computers or some other mouse or keyboard that is connected to either of the computers. So for the Legion, I also have a Razer mouse, so I can just click the Razer mouse and yeah, it will wake up, as you can see. And the KVM actually still works. I can use the Logitech mouse now, and I can also type. Your setup of KVM, of course, will depend heavily on the cables and maybe also on the power states of the USB ports. I did not play with that, but I definitely noticed some issues with cables. I'm using one USB Type-C cable from my Legion to the monitor, and actually I was using that even without KVM, so I was using my monitor as a USB hub for my peripherals like the keyboard and mouse and stuff, and the mic. And I think the keyboard was causing some issues because sometimes when I turned on the computer or I woke it up from sleep, actually the peripherals did not turn on. Windows had the notification that some USB ports might not be working. And how I solved that, actually, sometimes it was solved by just restarting or just changing I have two USB Type-C ports, one over here and one at the back, and both of them support DisplayPort transfer. So sometimes I just have to like switch them and it's corrected. Probably the keyboard is the culprit though, or maybe the cable as well. I'm not sure. So I bypassed that by connecting my keyboard directly into the notebook, and I had my mouse and mic in the monitor, and there was no problem this way whatsoever. So the keyboard somehow does cause problems when it's connected to the monitor. But now, when I set up this KVM with the MacBook Pro, actually there is no issue with the communication with the keyboard on MacBook. I haven't encountered any error yet, so it seems to be working better with MacBook. So maybe it's dependent on your hardware as well, or on your laptop. You might be lucky or you might not be lucky, and you might encounter some issues. So let's summarize, okay? The quality of the cable can be an issue, maybe some USB ports and peripheries, for example, your keyboard or mouse. So it's not perfect. You can encounter issues. There are small annoyances though. It's not like it does not work at all. It works, but sometimes it has quirks.